Welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I am Samira Ibrahim. Here are your top stories for today. Zamfara State House of Assembly reconvenes Monday 24th August 2020 after 1 month of mandatory House Assembly. Hisbah destroys 588 bottles of beer in Jigawa State. On business, NNPC to increase gas production to 500,000 cubic feet per day. On sport, Arsenal set to sign $25 million Gabriel Magalhaes on 5-year deal. And on the international scene, Mali junta wants 3-year military rule, agrees to free president. Now on the news in details. The Zamfara State House of Assembly to reconvene sitting Monday, the 24th August 2020, after a mandatory 1-month recess that started exactly on 24th July 2020 after a prolonged House debate on the issue. In a release by the clerk of the House, Alhaji Shehu Sa'idu Anka, and made available to the press, said that the recess, which is the second quarter of the House legislative calendar, is in fulfillment of Section 104 of 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as amended, which is also in line with the Zamfara State House Standing Rules of 2012, also as amended. Anka was quoted as saying that the recess has availed the members with the opportunity to freely engage with their respective constituencies with the sole aim of tabling their issues before the House for possible deliberations, considerations, and final recommendations. The chief bureaucrat of the House further revealed that, while on recess, respective House committees were busy doing another cardinal objective of lawmaking, which is oversight functions. Noticeable among was the one conducted by the House Standing Committee on Basic and Secondary Education, headed by Alhaji Yusuf Al-Hassan Kanuma, that toured all the state-owned public schools with the view of making their findings known to the House for necessary action. Zamfara State Governor Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawallan Marajan has ordered the immediate use of Islamic calendar in primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions across the state. Governor Matawalle disclosed this Sunday at the State Secretariat in Gusau, the state capital, during the launching of the Islamic New Year calendar 1442 after Hijrah, which began last Friday. The event was organized by Joint Youth Islamic Organizations. The governor, who spoke through the secretary to the state government, Alhaji Bala Bello Maru, explained that the use of Islamic calendar in all institutions of learning had become very imperative. He urged all Muslims faithful in the country to ensure that their children memorize the Islamic months and dates and be able to tell which month and day of the year at all times. Governor Matawalle, in collaboration with the chairman of the Zamfara State Social Investment Program, bought 50 copies of the calendar, each at the cost of 1 million naira. Hisbah, the Sharia law enforcement agency in Jigawa State, said it has destroyed no fewer than 588 confiscated bottles of beer in Ringim local government area of the state. Mr. Ibrahim Dahiru, the state commandant of Hisbah, told News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, in Dutse on Sunday that the bottles of beer were destroyed on August 20. Mr. Dahiru said that the beer was confiscated in Tudum Babaye village, Ringim local government area, during a raid in Gujungu, Kijawal, and Waduguri villages in Ringim and Taura local government areas. He emphasized that the consumption of beer was prohibited in all parts of the state, including villages. The commandant assured that the Hisbah will not relent in its fight against immoral acts, including consumption of alcohol in the state. Mr. Dahiru further advised residents to desist from engaging in vices capable of destroying the society. Wahab Shitu, the counsel to the suspended acting chairman of the anti-graft agency EFCC, Malay Ibrahim Magu, has again restated his stance that the panel proving his client has not submitted any report. The counsel confirmed that the proceedings are still ongoing and his client is set to present his defense. He expressed shock at the news report that an interim report had been submitted to President Muhammadu Buhari. He said media reports claiming an interim report indicting Mr. Magu was sent to President Muhammadu Buhari are false. The council said that such a libelous publication against his client without hearing from him is not true. He said the proceedings are ongoing and witnesses are still lined up for next week beginning from Monday 24th August 2020. Mr. Magu is being investigated before the presidential panel over allegations of corruption and insubordination. He was arrested on July 6th in front of his Wuse 2 office. The strategy of the Central Bank of Nigeria to tackle the menace of non-performing loan in the Nigerian banking industry may have started yielding results as the Apex Bank announced that it has commenced the process of recovering about 1.6 billion naira from individual debtors. Within 9 days in August, 50 million naira was recovered. The Banking Regulatory Authority is confident that recovery will increase significantly as it points its searchlight to the big companies and small and medium enterprises. The move to discourage borrowing without the intent to pay back by borrowers may have commenced in earnest as the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has made true its promise to empower banks to take back what their debtors owe them from their accounts. As at August 9th, 9 days after the new policy took effect, the Apex Bank hinted that the bank had recovered a total sum of 50 million naira from loan defaulters. The CBN said it had already treated cases of defaulters involving 26,057 accounts valued at 1.660 billion naira as at August 9, 2020. At least 2 operatives of the State Security Service (SSS) were killed on Sunday, allegedly by members of the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB). The secessionist group in a statement also said 21 of its members were killed by security operatives and 47 arrested. The incident caused tension in the area for a greater part of the day as armed police officers and soldiers were deployed. As a result, the area witnessed vehicular and human traffic as the police combed the area in search of IPOB members. In a statement by its spokesperson, Peter Afunaya, the SSS said its patrol team was attacked in Emene, Enugu State by members of the outlawed indigenous people of Biafra (IPOB). The service lost 2 personnel in what was clearly an unprovoked violence attack launched by IPOB on the team. The agency condoled with families of the departed officers and also prayed for the repose of their souls. The Oyo State Police Command has arrested Sunday Shodipe, a 19-year-old man accused of involvement in the rape and murder of some female residents in Ibadan. The State Police spokesman Olubenga Fadeyi confirmed the development to newsmen on Sunday in a telephone interview. Sunday Shodipe has been arrested and he is in police custody. When asked how the arrest was made, he replied that a press statement will be released later in the day. Premium Times reported how the police announced that Mr. Shodipe escaped from custody last Sunday. He was first arrested on July 17th but escaped on August 11th. The State Police Command announced a 500,000 reward for anyone who may help in locating him. 2 officers were also arrested in connection with Mr. Shodipe's escape. Despite the toll of almost 1,000 deaths from COVID-19 complications, only 10 of the 36 states in Nigeria have teams of trained staff for handling COVID-19 burials. The latest Health Preparedness Index for states published by SMB, Nigeria's leading intelligence platform, made this disclosure. It is not clear yet how coronavirus-infected bodies can transmit the virus, but forensic experts believe a lack of guidelines and contingency planning could trigger a chain infection, especially among mourners. They believe that corpse mismanagement has serious implications for broader efforts to contain COVID-19 and for grieving families. Nigeria recorded its first fatality from the virus about 24 days after its index case, an Italian national, was confirmed on February 28. As of Saturday, This number of confirmed deaths from the virus had reached 997. All the states in Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory Abuja have reported at least 2 fatalities. The NCDC had put in place an interim guideline for the safe management of copies in the context of COVID-19. On business, over to Agwairita.
Welcome to Standard Voice Business Update. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has said that it will increase daily gas production from 260,000 to 500,000 standard cubic feet per day in the next 2 years. The Group Managing Director of the corporation, Malam Mary Kari, reviewed the plan recently while inspecting already integrated gas handling plant facility, which belongs to the MPDC in Olubo, Edo State. After completing the gas plant, Kari said Nigeria could be sufficient in liquefied petroleum gas, stressing that the facility was awarded in 2015, but work commenced in 2017 and could be completed in October this year. He said the production of 500,000 cubic feet per day could be achieved in the next 2 years, adding that a series of projects and activities have been lined up to achieve this. He noted that NPDC was producing about 136,000 standard cubic feet per day, noting, however, that with improvement, the company is now producing 260,000 per day, which he described as a magnificent level of growth in the upstream company. And that's the Standard Voice Business Update. I'm Agwairita.
On sports, the Brazilian defender looks set to become the Ghana's second signing of the summer after agreeing terms on a 5-year deal. Arsenal are finally set to complete a deal for Gabriel Magalhaes. The Gunners have been locked in talks with the 22-year-old defender, having agreed a fee believed to be around $25 million with Lille last week. Napoli and Everton have also been pushing hard for the Brazilian and also had bids accepted by the Ligue 1 side, while Manchester United sounded out Gabriel's representatives at the end of last week to explore the possibility of the late move. And on the international scene, President of the National Committee for the Salvation of the People, Assimi Goïta, prepares for a meeting between Malian military leaders and an ECOWAS delegation headed by the former Nigerian president on August 22, 2020, in an aim to restore order after the military coup in Bamako. West African envoys held talks with Mali's military junta on August 23rd to try to push for a speedy return to civilian rule after a coup in the troubled nation. The delegation, headed by former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, held talks for half an hour with soldiers who seized power on August 18th, including new strongman Colonel Assimi Goïta. The envoys from the regional ECOWAS bloc also hope to meet ousted President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, who is being detained by the junta at a military camp outside Bamako. The junta that seized power in Mali wants a military-led transitional body to rule for 3 years and has agreed to release ousted President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. A source in the ECOWAS delegation in capital Bamako told AFP that the junta had affirmed that it wants a 3-year transition to review the foundations of the Malian state. This transition will be directed by a body led by a soldier who will also be head of the state. The government will also be predominantly composed of soldiers under the junta's proposal. The source added that the junta had agreed to free President Keïta, who has been detained along with other political leaders since the coup on Tuesday, and he will be able to return to his home in Bamako. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Zamfara State House of Assembly reconvenes Monday 24th August 2020 after 1 month of mandatory House Assembly. Hizbah destroys 588 bottles of beer in Jigawa State. On business, NNPC to increase gas production to 500,000 cubic feet per day. On sport, Arsenal set to sign $25 million Gabriel Magalhaes on 5-year deal. And on the international scene, Mali junta wants 3-year military rule, agrees to free president. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department Ibrahim Garbatunau, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.